First off, if I have not had the opportunity to meet you, my name is Seth Young, and I have the privilege of being the superintendent here in Anderson School District 1. I know that it is a Thursday in March, and there's soccer and track and baseball and softball and flag football and March Madness all going on. So I know there's a lot of different things going on. So I really appreciate you all being here. And giving up your time, because there's 100 other places that people could be. So I'm going to try to be respectful of your time. I'm going to talk kind of quick and go through some different things. There's a lot of change coming to the Powdersville community with the elementary school setup and the elementary school structure as we are continuing to build Oak Hill Elementary School in this community. So had a lot of questions. I know that Ms. Horn and Ms. Pageant and the other administrators and teachers are starting to get more and more questions about what's this going to look like, how's this going to affect my family, where's my kid going to be going to school, all those kind of answers. So we're going to talk about some of that tonight, and we'll continue to talk more about this over the next several months. So obviously we're going to talk about the reorganization. I'm going to go through the timeline. I'm going to show you some construction updates and some pictures of different things and plans that we have. And then, so you don't leave early, we're going to finish talking about some attendance stuff, because I know really that's what everybody cares about. And some of the teachers in the room, they want to know where they're going to work. We're not going to get into that tonight either. And also, please bear with me. I was very disappointed in my Clemson Tigers this afternoon, but it is what it is. If at any point I say something, if you go ahead and scan this QR code, it's going to go to like a Google form where if you have a question or something or a comment or anything like that we need to take into consideration, you can go to that. We're going to be putting together an FAQ that we're going to have on our website, and we're going to share out at the beginning of next week. I'm not necessarily going to open things up for questions tonight, but we do want to give you the opportunity to ask us questions or have a comment or something like that. Please go ahead and pull that up. I'll also put this back up at the end. I hope I touch on a lot of the topics that folks have been asking about, but that's what this will do. So just so we're clear, I don't want to make any assumptions, but for the 26-27 school year, so not next year, but 2 school years from now, that is when Oak Hill Elementary School will open. That same year, Concrete is going to go from a primary school and become Concrete Elementary School. Some folks, and anybody in here go to Concrete Elementary School when it was a K-5 school back in the day. So that's what a lot of people in the community, before Powdersville Elementary existed, you went to Concrete Elementary School. And then Powdersville Elementary is going to become a kindergarten through 5th grade school. And so we'll add kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade. So there's some things we have to do at Powdersville Elementary to get it ready to have primary grades in the building. We're going to talk about 5th graders a little more in just a minute. But that's what the structure is going to look like. It's going to be just like our Palmetto feeder system, our Wren feeder system, and then Powdersville will look just like that. Now, with that being said, we've got some really good schools in Powdersville. I know that a lot of times you get a lot of publicity when the baseball team or the basketball team or the volleyball team or whatever wins state championships. But what you may not know is Powdersville High School was named one of the top academic high schools in the state of South Carolina. It had one of the highest ratings on the school report card. It's been consistently recognized for being the toughest academic school, public school in South Carolina. Powdersville Middle School has been recognized as the National Blue Ribbon School. It's consistently one of the top performing schools on any metric you look at for SE Ready. Powdersville Elementary is also a National Blue Ribbon School. It is consistently one of the highest performing academic schools in the state, and all of that happens because of the foundation that's established at Concrete Primary. So as we restructure things, what we're aiming to do is make sure we continue that consistency with the elementary schools, and that we continue to have high expectations and set students up for success as they head to Powdersville Middle and Powdersville High School. So the timeline, we're aiming to finalize attendance lines with our board over the next couple of months. If any of you have students at Concrete, you've noticed that there's been a little bit of work that started this week. There's going to be a lot more work that starts over spring break, and we'll talk about what that looks like. And we're just going to continue along with construction at Oak Hill. This summer, we've got some work we need to do at Powdersville Elementary School to make sure we have it ready to have kindergarten, first and second grade students enter those doors in a year and a half. We're also, this summer, or in the fall, we'll let you all know where your child will be going to school the following year. And we also want to get some feedback. So we're going to survey our parents, because fifth grade is a unique situation as we think about what this structure is going to look like. If you think about current third graders at Powdersville Elementary School, they just went through Concrete kindergarten, first and second grade, and now they started third grade. Then they'll complete fourth grade next year, and then when all this happens, they'll be heading into fifth grade. So what we want to get some feedback from families on is, would you rather your fifth grader just go to the school where they're zoned for? Would you rather your fifth grader stay at Powdersville Elementary School where they went through third and fourth grade? There's a lot of different opinions on that. So we want to get feedback from families, because some people would say, I would rather my fifth grader just go where my second grader is going to be, so I only have to make one stop at the elementary school. I don't want to have to go. I've talked to one guy who is blessed to have a first grader, a fourth grader, a seventh grader, and a 10th grader, and he tells me about going through all 4 car lines every morning. So some of your families have lived that over the years, and he's excited about only having a couple of places that he has to go. So we want to get feedback from families. We're going to also have to take into consideration staffing. Can we handle it? What's all that going to look like? But as we make decisions of what to do with that fifth grade group, we do want to survey folks at the beginning of next school year, just to kind of get everybody's input as we make final decisions. Next fall, and we'll begin the staffing process for all 3 schools. We've got to figure out what's the administrative staff going to look like at Oak Hill. In case, I think that our staff is starting to realize the reality of this, but if you look at Concrete and Powdersville, I don't know that our community realizes this, but we've got 10, 11, 12 teachers on a grade level team. We're going to have to divide those faculties up by 3. And so if you take the second grade team at Concrete Primary School right now, some of those teachers are going to stay at Concrete and keep teaching second grade at Concrete. Some of those teachers are going to go to the new school and teach second grade there. And some of those teachers are going to move to Powdersville Elementary and teach second grade there. So we've got to divide that faculty up by 3. Same thing's going to happen with fourth grade teachers at Powdersville Elementary. Some of them are going to stay right there at Powdersville Elementary School. Some are going to go to the new school, and some are going to go to Concrete. So we've got to navigate that with our teachers and our faculty. So families, show your teachers a little bit of grace as they're all in some transition over the next year and a half with all this. And I think there's a lot going on, and we'll talk about how they're directly impacted by that. But we'll begin that process. We're going to finalize all of that and try to let our staff know where they're going to be teaching in the fall. And then in the spring of 2026, we've got to make sure any gaps that we can't fill with our current staff, that we hire the necessary people so that we can function. The other thing that will happen in spring of 2026, and some of this may also happen in the fall, is we'll have planning meetings for the PTSO and the SIC, not just at Oak Hill, but at Powdersville Elementary and Concrete, because the administrators are going to have to engage with families that have different age students in those schools. So for instance, the Powdersville Elementary PTSO has never had, they haven't had to worry about meeting new families in kindergarten and first grade before. Those folks they want to include. So we've got to give opportunities for those families to get engaged. And then in the summer of 2026, we'll begin preparing for the upcoming 26-27 school year. We want to have all of the work completed that we need to construction-wise as much as possible completed by June of 2026 so that teachers can move into their classrooms and get set up, whether they're moving into a classroom at Powdersville, Concrete, or Oak Hill. And we want to give students and parents the opportunity to be able to visit the school they're going to be at, see all that, set up community. So we want to be able to spend the summer with the least disruption as possible. That's easy for me to say, and that's a long way off, and we got a lot of stuff that's got to fall into place, but that's the goal. So let's talk about some specific schools. I'm going to start talking about Powdersville Elementary. I think Miss Martin, Kelly Martin, is going to, starting this summer, Kelly Martin will be the principal at Powdersville Elementary School. So if you have specific questions about Powdersville Elementary School, Miss Martin is going to be your point of contact. There's several things that have happened over the last couple of years as the district has been planning to make these changes in Powdersville. And we'll talk about some of those. We've upgraded the HVAC at Powdersville Elementary. We've done some things with the playgrounds. We've done some different cosmetic upgrades within the school. And I'll talk about restrooms specifically here in just a minute. All right, so this is hard to see, but this is a blueprint of Powdersville Elementary School. You see there's two main hallways. There's a hallway you can barely see right there, and there's another hallway you can barely see right here. This hallway right here, when it was built in 2002, was actually built so that one day Powdersville Elementary School could be a traditional elementary school that has kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth grades there. However, these classes have had older students in them, and they hadn't really used the restrooms that were actually built in each one of these classrooms. A lot of times, those restrooms have turned into storage closets and different things like that. So this summer, we're making sure all of those restrooms on this hallway are functional, because in a primary classroom, it is most efficient to have a functional restroom in a kindergarten class or a first grade class or a second grade class. If you have any questions about that, I'm going to have all the primary teachers meet over here about, they can explain why that is necessary. But we've got to make sure that those restrooms are functional and that they operate, and make sure that that's done this summer, because when, like I said, we've got teachers that are going to move to Powdersville Elementary School next summer. We want them to, as soon as school year's over, be able to move into these classrooms. We don't want to do all that next year and then delay the moving in and delay all that. We want to get that set up as soon as possible. You also see over here, this was an addition that was made a few years ago. We understood what was happening. We continued to see growth in this community. So we've already done one addition. We've got some portables that are back here in this end of the school. Hopefully, as we plan ahead appropriately, we won't need to use portables anytime soon at Powdersville Elementary School anymore once we get through with this project. This is another picture of the addition from a couple years ago, and then this is a picture of the playground. Now, I didn't realize how big of a deal this was, because I'm a former high school administrator, but having appropriate playground equipment is a big deal. So this is when they upgraded their playground. They've got a really cool setup for the older students, but they also added an area for kindergartner that's a kindergarten appropriate, so they don't climb up and get dangerous and break their arms and that kind of thing. So there's a playground set up at Powdersville Elementary School that's already prepared to have kindergartners that's appropriate for primary age students. So we've already done some stuff at Powdersville in preparation for this transition. And then this spring, with the partnership of the PTSO and things, they've done several things to spruce up the school. I think it looks great. If you have a student at Powdersville Elementary School, you see this right when you pull through the car line, but there's murals in the cafeteria. They've done some different things to really just brighten the school up. So they've done a really good job with that. So next is concrete. Miss Pageant is here. She's your point of contact, and she is really done an awesome job. I just want to echo the point. I talked about all those awards and different things that happen in the Powdersville community. One of the things we talk about with concrete is they don't get a report card rating, they don't have SC ready test scores, so they don't necessarily get a lot of the awards and recognitions and things like that. But none of this is possible without the foundation that's laid at Concrete Primary School. And we're all going to have to work together to remember that it's not Concrete Primary anymore in a year and a half, it's Concrete Elementary. And we're going to have some kind of like fine bucket where you put a quarter in the jar or something to make ourselves learn. It's going to become Concrete Elementary School. So this literally last Friday on the teacher work day, you saw that we stole all the teachers' parking, and now they have to park on the other end of the school, and they're like really like fighting to see. I had to like park on the curb the other day when I went by there to check on them. But they're going to redo the entrance to update. I'll show you a picture of what that's going to look like in a second. So that's going to have a new office area and reception area. It'll have a new entryway for students to come in and out of the building. Allegedly, that's going to be done by the time the upcoming school year starts. We'll see how that goes. If you pray, you can pray that happens. We're all working on that. We're going to renovate some classrooms. I'm going to show you what that looks like. If you've ever driven through this area in the afternoon between the time of like 1:30 and 3, you understand why getting the car line and some of the parking areas around Concrete, any help we can give there is going to help. There's been plumbing and restrooms, doing some things to update that because it's an older building. And they also have upgraded their playground in the last couple of years. They have an awesome, cool playground to the point where I actually heard from the community when we were working on fencing projects. The community wanted to make sure that we had a gate so that people could still bring their kids to play on the playground, even on the weekends and stuff, because the playground's so cool. So we want to make sure that we celebrate that they got a really cool playground at Concrete. So this is what the front entrance is going to transition to. And again, you see it says Concrete Elementary right there. And you're going to walk in there. It's going to help get folks in and out through the secure vestibule. It's going to be more convenient. The area over here where the office is now is going to be converted into some classroom space this summer or next fall once they can move into the new office area. But this will be over on the corner where they've started working on some things right now. And this will be the reception area. When you walk in, you see that, but the cool thing that we've gotten working with the architects, we have some old pictures of different generations of what concrete has looked like over the years. So we're really going to be able to go back in the past and see what concrete was like in the 60s. And then I think we have another picture from the 80s, a more recent version of what it looked like in the 2000s. Then we'll have the current, what it looks like now. So we'll be able to really like honor the past in concrete in the reception area, but it'll be much more modernized when you walk in. And then the classroom space. I don't know if you've been in the classrooms at Concrete recently, but they don't look like that. And they have told me and Ms. Pageant that that's what the classrooms are going to look like in July when the teachers come back. One thing that you need to know about concrete is in order to complete all this work inside the building, and the whole having to do makeup days at the end of the year and mess with the half days and do some things is literally the construction company Triangle is literally the hours that it's taking us to push things back is impacting their timeline. But we're going to be packing up every piece of furniture, paper, whatever that's in the classrooms and moving it to different areas of the school so that the Triangle Construction can come in and fix up the classrooms. And they're going to be doing that over the summer. So literally the teachers in concrete are going to be packing up their classrooms this spring at the very end of the year. Then their classroom is going to be remodeled, redone, and then right as your students are coming back to school, a lot of the teachers are going to have to unpack. And then next year, a lot of them are going to have to move again. Just for the record, I was not the superintendent when this timeline was created. I thank Mr. Benneker for that all the time. But we're excited that we're going to be able to start working on modernizing things at Concrete. One of the things that we know we're going to have to do over the next several years while I'm superintendent is to do some other building projects around the district. And I want to emphasize that we're going to continue to do some things at Concrete to continue to fix it up over the next several years because we've got some needs in that building. As you know, it's an aging building that we're going to take care of. But this is going to be what some of the classrooms start to look like at Concrete this fall. All right, Oak Hill Elementary School, and if you drive down 85 at all, you can see the work continuing every day. I'm going to show you some pictures that I literally took this morning when I was walking around with my hard hat, and everybody was staring at me like, who's this guy with the tie on walking around like they were scared to even come near me. But that's going to be completed by June of 2026. One thing that I hope we all remember is we're building a $44 million facility in Anderson School District 1, and we're doing it without doing a bond referendum. Okay, we're using our local option sales tax money and some other funding sources from our district, and we're building a brand new school without having to do a bond referendum. That's a pretty big deal, and so that's a great testament to our board. It's a great testament to Mr. Binnicker and the planning that went into doing this. So this is what the front of the school looked like this morning around 9:45 a.m. You can kind of start to see that you can see where that's going to be. So it's coming together nicely. In the distance over there, that's going to be where the library is, and that's going to be where the main office is. Oak Hill, I don't know if the community is aware of some of the details, but it's going to have a full-size gym. So one of the things that we're excited about is we'll be able to partner with Play to have ability for have a full-size gym for volleyball and basketball for the Play organization to use it. I'm sure that the middle school and high school coaches will also be trying to get in there and use that gym as much as possible. But that's another way we're going to be able to serve the community with a full-size gym. This is a picture of the music classroom, where that's going to look like. If you're wondering what the tall parts are that you can start to see going on in the back, this is going to be where either kindergarten, first or second grade will be on this first floor right here, and then on the top floor will be either third, fourth, or fifth grade. So that you'll have two areas. So right here is like a collaborative space, and then you can see the classrooms going around the outside of it. It's coming together quite nicely. This is the reception main office area. One really cool thing that we have been able to do is through the community. I also don't know if the community is aware of this. There was an Oak Hill school right close to the location of this school at the turn of the century, at the beginning of the 20th century, around early 1900s. And we've been able to start gathering some artifacts from community members that go back as far as 1910 of class pictures from the original Oak Hill school. We've had some folks that have diplomas that they've given us that go back to the 1930s. Just some really, really neat ways to honor the history of our community that we'll have in the reception area here to display. So if you have any family that has ties to the Elrods from that time period and have any family that attended that original Oak Hill school, you can reach out to me. I'll have my contact information in the end, and we would love to be able to make a copy or share those artifacts with the community if possible. The final area in the back back here is going to be where the cafeteria will be. There's also going to be a meeting space that the district will have on the back end of the school to have meetings and different things like that. What you see is you can kind of see where the serving line will be right along there, and this is the big hallway that goes down the center of the school. So we're really excited about the progress we're making. They're actually, knock on wood, ahead of schedule. Now that I've said that out loud in a public forum that's being recorded and will be posted online, we'll probably have like tons of rain and everything will be slowed down. All right, let's talk about attendance lines. This is not official attendance lines, and I see some of you are taking pictures, so you're probably not listening. Again, these are not official attendance lines, but I want to kind of give you an idea of what we're thinking. First off, we really tried hard to find some land on Hood Road to put the new school, but we just couldn't find any land because for years Anderson One put all of our schools on Hood Road, but we just couldn't find the right piece of land. So that's why we didn't build Oak Hill over this way. Just to be clear, this is Elrod Road. So the new school is right in this area right here. You see concrete right here, and you see Powdersville Elementary right there. This road right here is Highway 153. The green line is Three Bridges Road, and the blue line is Highway 81. For decades, developers only built houses between these two lines. That is where all of the neighborhoods were put forever and ever and ever. Now, there's more development coming out this way and coming out this way. The reason I highlight these roads is there's some very natural areas that kind of make some common sense that sort of show you where the lines will fall when you start estimating where do I live, how do I fall, where does my family fall in on this. Now, what I have learned is when you start making official attendance lines, you really have to pay attention to how bus routing works and how all of those details fit together. So what we have is when you add all the students that are currently enrolled at Concrete and Powdersville Elementary, we have about 1,600 students. When you go from K4 up to 5th grade, we have about 1,600 students. We're going to try to keep the enrollments as even as possible between Powdersville Elementary, Concrete, and Oak Hill. However, we also know we need to leave some room to grow, and we also need to make sure that we have plans of if we're going to do some work at Concrete and continue to upgrade some of the classrooms and have things going on, we want to give ourselves some room so that we don't have to put portables up as we do work at Concrete, that we don't want to have to keep using portables. You probably know that there's a lot of talk about some potential development in this area right here, so we're trying to plan accordingly. Eventually, those developments are going to get approved one day. We also know that there are lots and lots of homes being built out in this part of the district right now, and there is tons of development going out this way on the other side of Highway 81 as you go out River Road. So we're trying to plan accordingly so that we have room to accommodate things so that 10 years from now, we're not having to redraw lines. We want to keep things as consistent as possible. Oak Hill is going to be built to have a core of 1,000 students. So when we move into it, there's going to be classrooms that we're not using for a few years. I was talking with Mr. Moore and Ms. Tollison, who a lot of you know that have been principals at Powdersville Elementary, and they talked about coming to work at Powdersville Elementary and not even filling up the academic wing where 4th and 5th grade is until like 2016 and 2017, and then they built the addition. So it took us 15 years to actually fill up Powdersville Elementary School when that was originally built, and that's the same plan that we want to have in place for Oak Hill, and we want to put the same plan in place at Powdersville Elementary and Concrete as we think about where officially are the attendance lines going to be. Now, one thing I want to say is just because you're on this side of the blue line does not definitely mean you're going to go to Concrete. There's some neighborhoods that are pretty sizable that are right along this road that it's going to be convenient just to go right across the street and get over here to Oak Hill Elementary. There's some neighborhoods that are right along this road that is going to be very convenient just to get right over here to Concrete. So that's how that's going to work. So what you can kind of start piecing together is the folks that live on this side of 153 at the top of the county. I think you can kind of figure out where you're going to go to school. If you live on the other side of the green line, it's going to be very easy just to hop on Three Bridges Road, cross on the Hood Road, and figure out where you're going to go to school. So you can kind of start to piece together where things are going to be. But we're going to continue to take that into consideration. Again, there's a QR code right here, along with my email address. I told somebody it would be about 30 minutes, and it's 6:30 and 32 seconds. That's pretty good. But if you have specific questions, please feel free to submit them, and we're going to, again, create an FAQ. If you reach out to me, I will try to get your question answered as soon as I can. This is just the beginning of one step. We'll have some more additional meetings as we get further along the lines, and when we finalize attendance lines, then Ms. Pageant and her crew and myself we'll have a planning meeting with the folks that are going to be part of the Concrete family moving forward, and we'll start working with those parents. Same with Ms. Martin at Powdersville Elementary and Ms. Horn. We've got some social media updates that we'll share with everybody so that you can follow along with what's the construction that's happening at Concrete. As we do have some things this summer, we'll be posting pictures so you can see what's happening there and follow along at Concrete's social media. Ms. Horn's already creating some social media pages that we'll share out so that we can show what's going on at Oak Hill Elementary, and Ms. Martin will be sharing different things that are going on at Powdersville Elementary. We want everybody to be involved. We want everybody to be on the same page. If you have friends that were not as dedicated as you and they went to a soccer game or they stayed home and watched a basketball game tonight instead of coming here, and you can tell them that we're going to post this the beginning of next week so that they can see the slides, they can hear all my funny jokes and all that, because you'll never be able to retell the jokes as well as I have tonight. We definitely want people to know they can reach out to us with questions. And again, we'll continue to have conversations like this over the next few months as we plan. This is an exciting time to be in this area. We've got an awesome brand new school, but we've got Powdersville Elementary is a phenomenal school, great facility that's been very well taken care of, and we're excited for the things happening at Concrete and the new stage, the new era of Concrete Elementary as we move forward. I really appreciate your time. The reason these schools are so successful is we have such a supportive community, we have great teachers, and great parents and wonderful students. So thank y'all so much. If there's ever anything we can do, y'all please reach out. Have a great night.